not to be confused with Clay Two.
Well, I got too many calls in my office. I have to cheat on a little bit.
Not to be confused with Clay Two.
Okay, we are live.
Morning, everybody. I'm almost out today, but it's not quite there. Liberty County Commission Court, special meeting, December 10th, 2021, about 11:37. Special agenda today is with our attorneys, Bickerstaff, Keith Legato, Costa, and also with Mr. Bush from our elections administration office. A discussion, consideration of possible adoption of an order approving the redistricting of the county's justice of the peace and constable precincts and establishing new commissioner precinct boundary lines based on the 2020 census data for county elections and providing for an effective date. So, Glenn, if you would, kind of walk us into this, the start of this, and if you need to get Catherine, Dan with Bickerstaff on there with you, then we'll be glad to hear from everybody at this point.
Sounds good. First, I want to, this is not a complete redistricting like you commissioners went through with your particular precincts. But the law says we have to redistrict everything. So the JP and constable precincts, we redistrict we only redistrict 1% of their districts. This is a cleanup order to get the voting precincts in line with the county commissioner precincts. And that's what drove this particular redistricting topic. I want to apologize to the constables and to the JPs, because when you heard redistricting, I'm sure everyone got really, really concerned. But I should have said something to y'all. It's not redistricting. It technically is, but this is a cleanup order only.
More of a realignment.
It's a realignment. It only affects the JP and constable districts on the east side of the river. Since Greg and Bruce changed so much, that's what really caused the issues that we had for our voting precincts. You have already adopted your voting precincts. This also has to align with them. Did you get your email? Mm-hmm. You saw the 5 maps? Judge, did you see your 5 maps?
Yes.
Commissioners, I think y'all see yours. All right, that is what you're looking at today. Catherine, would you like to walk them through those changes on the PDF that has the 5 changes? For example, the airport.
Clint, I can't see that screen. Do you have it up?
I do not have it up. Hold on. Let's see. It's this PDF that has these maps.
Okay.
Can you
So
see?
basically, yeah, I see that map. So basically the changes are in the one that's numbered 3. So when we had redrawn the election precincts to consolidate them, to make them more compact, to save the county money and having to run all these polling places, and also to be in compliance with the law, there were just 5 pockets where the JP lines did not adhere to the right precinct. And so all this cleanup order is doing is fixing those 5 lines. And there's a map that shows these tiny 5 pockets.
Which map is that?
It's the map that I sent you, and I can email it to you right now if that's helpful.
Well, I have quite a few maps that I did bring, and Lee did print out the maps in large as well. I don't have a computer with me.
Okay, it's a map that has the little highlighting where the cleanup is. It's just tiny little sections within the precincts that where the line for the election precinct is, like, I don't know, 100 yards from the JP line. The JP line needs to be moved to fit that same election precinct line, and that's what's going on.
I don't think we have that map, Catherine.
Okay.
We have the PDF that it's the larger PDF that you sent that has the 5 small areas that is highlighted, and then you have your verbiage on what you're moving and why you're realigning it. Is that the one you're talking about?
Why don't you send it to me?
Or send it to Dee Dee, and then she can print it out or open it for us.
I think it's just it.
I think so, but I don't think she's.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. I'll send it to you right now.
Okay.
I think that I'm looking at these.
I think so too, but I don't think she's on my same page. I'm not explaining it well. You look at it, don't you?
Is that the one she sent?
I think this, what you blew up is what she's.
Okay.
But Dee Dee is reprinting. This is your commissioner precincts. Voting precincts.
So Clint, on the airport, are we changing this as far as commissioner lines? Are we just doing that like this little square here? This is recognized split the airport. Yeah.
I don't see any reason to split the airport from JP reason.
Then you have to open up county commissioner positions.
No, we're not, I thought this,
This is just for JPs.
This is.
Okay.
And then our line is still here.
so part of JP precincts in both of our precincts.
Yes.
Let me get her to answer that. I've looked at. Susan.
That's the reason I said that if to do that, I wouldn't add that little bit to put it in, part of it in mine, and part of it in
They
here.
may have to have a voting box at the airport. That's the problem with this.
So we have.
Yeah, that's the reason,
I have to have a voting box at the airport.
you have to.
I'm required to have a voting box in every voting precinct. If the lines aren't matched, there's little areas that are in no man's land, like the airport.
But this proposal is, don't match.
Catherine, can you pull up the airport?
Unless I'm looking at it wrong.
Well, I don't want to.
I just sent the map to, for some reason, DD's email address isn't on my phone, but I did send it to Lee, to the judge, to you. Let me look for DD's email.
You know what?
No, hang on, Catherine, I'll go get it. It won't take me a second.
Okay. I think we have the same.
The way you look at that is part of this. I'm not sure what that.
This is the lines right now. This is precinct 1, this is precinct 2.
Let me show you the
They're
changes.
taking.
Catherine, I have it on my phone. It's gonna print it.
In the JPs, not changing our lines, but I'm.
That's correct.
She didn't send it to you.
Yeah,
She don't have it.
But it's in our precincts, gonna be in each
Well,
precinct.
oh, yeah, well, it's everything up here. This is precinct 6. He has part of
That's what we're talking
Leon and Whitmire.
You see the.
There's no way.
highlights?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about, just the highlighted areas.
And these are not, we're not changing commissioner lines, we're just, yeah,
Okay, so the precincts don't have to be in the commission.
No. evidently not, because we have 4 commissioners
What
and
precinct
6.
you're talking about.
Yeah, we have 4 commissioners and 6.
Okay, so the JP line can cross.
They can, but you did not order that. Y'all ordered the lines to be coterminous.
This whole map is crossing lines.
We need to ask bigger staff.
And I'm fine with this map, but it's crossing, you have.
That's what I'm trying to say. This-
Catherine,
No, the lines are showing election precincts. Do you see they're showing the election precincts? And what it is that the areas where the highlighting is, it's supposed to point out to you. If you look over there, the black line and the red line needs to match, but they don't match. And that we're
Okay.
just moving the line slightly so those 2 lines match, so that you don't have a pocket that doesn't have an election precinct.
Can you look at your, your map, the PDF that you sent that's cleanup order adopted December 10, Liberty County Justice Precincts map? That one? The commissioners are thinking that the lines do cross voting precincts. Is that what you were saying, Bruce and Greg?
Yes. What I'm saying is do the JPs have to follow the commissioner's lines that they're crossed all over on here?
What she
So
says.
the JPs are in the same commissioner precincts they were in before. Because they are coterminous. We agreed that they would be the same. It's just, they're just tiny little pockets where focus only on the highlighted areas because that's the areas where the changes are being requested so that the election precinct and the JP lines match up.
All right, Catherine.
Everything else is the same that we had before.
I see what the commissioners are confused about because I'm also confused to an extent on coterminous. Now what we are doing, what you're saying, what we're hearing you say is the JP precincts are coterminous as in line with the commissioner precincts. Is that right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what we understand it's supposed to be.
Okay. And that's what's supposed to be, right?
Yes.
Okay, that ain't right.
If that ain't
That
right,
was what I'm looking at.
All right, the commissioners are saying by what they are looking at on the map that I just told you about,
Ms. Chambers is printing it on the map printer right now, but that thing takes a little bit.
I hear you, that it's different.
I'm gonna have two
But-
JPs.
But hold on. Okay, we have a new map.
Yeah, but the blue numbers mean something and the black numbers mean something. They're not the same numbers, just so you know.
All right, the map that you sent. The map that you just sent, is that the new constable and priest and JP lines?
Yeah, well, it's showing the areas where the changes need to be made. The change is not made there because we had to highlight, we were trying to explain to you, this is why we need to do this cleanup order.
The map that you just sent, it does change JP and
No.
constable precinct 6.
The map that I just sent shows why you need to have the order change or the order in place. It does not make the changes. The changes are made on the maps that were sent last night. This map is showing you the problem areas only. It does not make the changes so you can see why the change needs to be made. So the dark gray lines on this map are the JPs with the black numbers. The shading is the commissioners with the blue numbers. And the yellow marked areas are what we need to move for the JP lines back down to the red lines so that they're consistent.
Wow.
And the
I'm
red
still-
lines are the election precincts that are adopted.
All right, we're looking at the
This-
maps that you sent,
Mhm.
and it still looks like JP precinct 6 does change because JP precinct 6 has 2 county commissioners now.
I'm gonna have 3.
Oh, all right, hold on. Let me stick with that one because I can follow that one easier. Then we'll get to you, if that's okay.
So
So is the JP 6 going to have 2 commissioners in his new JP precinct lines?
The JP 6 is the one that is marked with, it's the pink area, right?
Yes, ma'am. Well,
Yeah, it's the
Um,
pink
no,
area
it
because that's
also-
where the dark 6 is. The black 6 is where the JP numbers is. Remember, the
Correct.
black numbers are the JP numbers, so that would be the pink area. No,
Uh,
he is only in Commissioner Precinct 3.
then that does move his precinct.
Yes, it does, definitely.
What is it? What is the yellowness?
That's the areas that would change. That's the fixed order. That's the change order. It's just the yellow.
For the
Yellow,
JPs and constables.
the yellow is precinct four.
Hold on, we've got two
Yellow is
conversations.
precinct four.
Yeah,
Hold
the
on.
yellow is precinct four, precinct two. I mean, the color coded is four commissioners. The lines I'm taking as being constable, I mean, JP lines.
Tell me what yellow you're talking about.
It's more green.
Are we talking about this yellow, the highlight, or are you talking about that?
It's over here.
All right, I'm gonna say that's green. Okay. I'm talking about the highlight.
Well, because I'm with JP one now. This is over. I've got the JP. I've got,
So Catherine, I think we are confused as a whole board.
Okay,
The map that you sent with the highlights, we see the highlighted areas. We also see 4 different color commissioner precinct lines.
4
But-
different color commissioner lines.
Okay. Let's
So-
focus on the northwest side of the county. Just for
Okay.
clarity, and then let's work our way out.
Okay,
All right, you see the number 6, that's the JP precinct. All right, but look in the JP precinct, which is run all the way to the northern portion of the county line, all the way to the western portion of the county line. The old JP precinct only had 1 county commissioner. This new map that you have shows you have 2 county commissioners, because you have a pink and a blue. Are we reading that wrong?
Where she be located? Where's she at?
Probably Houston or Austin.
Somebody needs to be here, huh?
let me, you know what, let me get our map person on the phone to make sure that they overlay
Okay.
this map correctly. Give me a second, okay?
Because something's not jiving from what we've all talked about in print.
You won't have precinct 1, 4, and Wayne Brown.
You're not
Just go back to the old, I'm having 3 JPs in my first.
Well, I've got 3 JPs in my precinct. 1, 2, and
That's your blow-ups of the small PDFs.
Just so you know, Catherine dropped out for a second.
Oh, she did? Okay.
You probably aware that we could,
Okay, so she comes back. This is stuff that might take this long. I'm sorry.
yeah, just looking at this one map here, I'm fine with the JP lines, in this one here.
I don't, see, I've not seen this map until today.
Yeah,
I don't. Something's not jiving.
well, it's not gonna- it does guide. This overlay here is precinct 6. So she's showing it in the blue, it's just like this map here.
I disagree with it. It's her statement that they're supposed to be coterminous.
Yes.
We either are coterminous or
Or
not
not,
coterminous.
this is, we're not.
Those are the ones they sent with the change
This map
order,
here, we're
so
not.
those are supposed to
Okay, we're unmuted, and it looks like the map person is about to join here.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, we're good. Map person's in.
Walk us through it, Catherine.
So I think the confusion has to do with this coterminous language.
Absolutely.
And we talked about how your order said that you were coterminous, right? And that we believed you were coterminous. So when we entered the 2021 order,
Hold on, Catherine, there's a train. Hold on.
okay,
Sorry.
no worries.
Sounds like money.
They're delivering Christmas goods.
It is Christmas. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, all right, go ahead. We're good.
Okay, so let me back up. We started out talking about coterminous, right? And all that means is the lines are the same. And so there is definite confusion with regard to this county because in 2011, we pulled your adoption order from redistricting. And in 2011, the order said that your county was coterminous, meaning the JP lines and the commissioner lines were the same. So when we talked about whether or not the county wanted to continue to be coterminous this time around, we talked that over several times and we agreed that we were going to leave things the same, even though there is a questionnaire that was filled out by the, Can you hear me?
We can now. So back up a minute and then go.
Okay, so back when I was saying that in 2011, we talked about whether or not the county was going to be coterminous in keeping with what they did in 2011. And there was some confusion on that point because the questionnaire that we got from the county said the county was not coterminous. And so we went back and forth on that. And we rested on the fact that we thought you guys wanted to be coterminous, so we left it that way. But then when we did the election precinct reconfiguration, we realized that you had 6 JP precincts versus having 4. So you were not coterminous because in order for you to be coterminous, you would just have 4 JP precincts.
Right.
So that is where the confusion stems from. You are not coterminous, even though the orders say you are, because you have 6 JP precincts and not 4. If you had 4, then you would be coterminous because your lines would match up exactly with the commissioner precincts, but your lines don't match up. And so that's why, yes, you were correct. In that area where it's marked JP precinct 6, it says that it covers that area, but it also bleeds into the commissioner precinct number 2. So it's in commissioner precinct 3 and commissioner precinct 2. But that is fine according to the law. It's the election precincts that can't bleed into different numbers.
Commissioner precincts. The election precincts can't bleed into multiple commissioner precincts, correct?
Yes.
So does the court need to finally decide if they're coterminous or not, since they've been back and forth for 15 years?
Well, if we're coterminous, that means we're gonna have to get rid of 2 JPs and 2 constables, and I don't see that happening. So I think we need to keep it just the way it is.
Right. That's exactly right. Because you have that number and we decided we would keep the people in their places. That was one of the things you agreed to.
I agree with you, Leon. No, I am not for that.
And that is why when they asked, do we want to touch the JP lines?
Yeah.
We said no, because we know the feelings of the court as in leave them alone. And that's fine with us. And that's how we operated, but it did throw us into confusion with the previous courts, not y'all. I'm talking about different classes of commissioners court changing orders. And then, so again, do we need, you're the lawyer. Do we need to finally establish, are we coterminous or not as a court?
Well, we need to say that we are not coterminous, and I could do an amended order and fix that language in the one that was entered so that we correct it as a matter of record.
I think we need to do that considering our record has gotten us confused since 15 years ago. I would strongly encourage that.
Yes, I mean, we can definitely do the correction order and it would just be, changing that language.
Okay,
But I do have Sherry on the phone because I understand that you have other questions with regard to the map.
well, I think you just worked us through and walked us through. So the new map that we're looking at, this one right here that you just sent, that is a correct map, and we are in fact not changing JP and Constable lines.
We are changing the JP line slightly. In the areas that are highlighted, we're moving that JP line to the red line.
So Constable Harkness will have 2 county commissioners now rather than 1. That's Constable Precinct 6, JP 6, Constable 6. Constable 6.
Yeah, so JP Precinct 6, the one on the northwest corner, right?
Correct.
It is right now in the pink area, which is marked as Commissioner Precinct 3. And then part of it bleeds into the blue area, which is Commissioner Precinct 2.
Okay.
Is everybody on the same page now? Leon, you good? So you will have multiple. How many did you have before? 3. You had 1. Oh, shoot, okay. So you will have 3. I don't see a way around it.
I don't either.
I've always had 2.
I've always had 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So,
Now, in 10 years, you may just be a little stag and you'll have 1 then, but
We'll be retired.
I hope it's well.
Cause I've got Clark Fuller, Ronnie Davis.
Well, on the new,
Yeah, the new one.
but I didn't know the old one, I had
Oh, yeah.
2 or 3. At least 2.
So does everyone at least understand the small highlighted areas that we have to change?
I do not.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, it's just, yeah. It just a change, it's hard to get used to change.
Yeah.
It's not much of a change, though.
Well, it's not really.
Well,
Not-
it
not-
probably changes Leon more than anybody because he's used to only having 1 JP. Everybody
Yeah.
else has multiple,
Yeah.
except Commissioner Whitmire.
Well,
See how
the JPs and constables don't change that much.
But they're not. I mean, it's the 5 areas that's,
Commissioner percent.
yes, sir. Judge, that's all I've got.
Okay, what I would request out of this is that we get a very detailed map defining these lines.
We have already.
Okay, I'm talking very detailed.
CAD has all of our shape files from Vicker staff,
Okay,
and I probably have like 70 in my office now. If you want to walk over, I'll show you. But they're the largest maps that they can print. They're like Lee's. They have the most detail. You have to call CAD on that. They're pretty quick on
okay,
getting
that's what I'm
maps.
gonna request, if you don't mind. Get the maps, if you would request all the maps for our JPs and our constables and commissioners. And it will either come pick them up or you can deliver them.
What do you want on your maps? Just
I
roads?
want everything detailed.
All right.
I want the boundary lines, the JPs, commissioners, constables. I want to know that I can look at kind of road such and such.
Yes, sir.
That's going to be the north end of whoever, or the south end of whoever, or the west, east or west. But I want the defining structural map showing details on where each precinct is.
All right. We can do that. We'll facilitate that.
Okay, we have an order here. Is this order correct?
Catherine, did you hear the judge?
Yes, the order is correct.
Are you sure? With the coterminous language?
Is there, let me look at your order.
Okay. Make sure it's the same one that we did.
I'm probably gonna read it verbatim to make sure we all vote on the right thing.
Because you know, you read
But when we've taken the language of coterminous out of this thing, which I don't see it nowhere on here.
You're looking at that one? All right.
Yeah, I don't see it I'm looking at the order now.
Mhm.
I'm not seeing the verbiage of coterminous in here.
It's in a prior order, that's what she's saying, y'all
Yeah.
need to make a
Okay.
new statement that, these lines lines are not coterminous.
So whoever's here in 10 years needs to remember what a coterminous.
Okay, I have reviewed the order and I believe the order is correct. The only thing you put in the order is the year of, in January, you want this to be effective. There's a blank there. It says January 1, 2020, and then it's either you fill in the number you want.
Do you want me to read the order verbatim to make sure we are voting on the right one?
I do.
The judge wants me to. I'm going to read it. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Order approving the redistricting of the county's justice of the peace and constable precincts and establishing new commissioner precinct boundary lines based on 2020 census data for county elections and providing for an effective date. Whereas the territory of Liberty County is divided into various precincts, justice precincts, from which the justices of the peace and constables of the county are elected, and whereas the Commissioners Court of Liberty County is authorized to review and revise the boundaries of the justice precincts from time to time as it may deem necessary, and whereas for the convenience of the citizens and for the effective administration of county business in the respective justice precincts, the County Commissioners Court has decided that it is the best interest of the county to redraw the justice of the peace and constable precincts for the convenience of citizens and effective operation of the county. Now therefore, be it ordered by the Commissioners Court of Liberty County, Texas, A, that the existing justice precinct boundary lines for Liberty County are hereby amended and the new districting plan depicted on the map attached hereunto as Exhibit A. Make sure we have it. Is this Exhibit A?
Is that the map you got from us last night?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes. The map you got from us last night.
Defining new justice precincts as new precincts is hereby adopted and designated to define the county justice precincts from and after the effective date. That Exhibit A is incorporated by reference in and made a part of this order and shall be kept on file at the county elections office. B, that this order shall take and be given effect on January 1, 2020 blank, and that hereafter all Liberty County justice elections shall be held under and in accordance with the new justice precincts districting plan here adopted by the Commissioners Court until such a time as subsequently lawfully enacted districting plan shall be adopted to replace this plan. Clarifying note, this plan will define the justice precincts for which candidates will run for offices of justices of the peace and constables in the November 2022 general county election and in the party primaries that preceded, passed and approved by the Commissioners Court of Liberty County, Texas, this 10th day of December 2021. Is that the correct order?
Yes, that is the correct order.
Here it is. Okay. We have an order. And for your consideration is to approve this order. So at this point in time, we're going to need a motion and a second and a vote.
What's the effective date?
January
You gotta-
1st, 2021.
Just 2022.
Just a year behind us. Okay.
2022.
Yeah.
Make a motion to accept the order.
Got a motion and a second to accept this order effective January 1st, 2022. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Likewise, nays.
Yes, sir.
Is this necessary that this happens today?
I asked that question, we have to do it today, Saturday or Sunday. If we wait until Monday, the entire election can be challenged, the entire redistricting process is.
I wish we'd have had more defining lines on it before I voted on it. Given the circumstances, we'll move forward.
We have 3 aye votes. Please note that Commissioner Whitmire is not present today. And that is a unanimous vote consideration.
Judge, Catherine, are we completely finished with Liberty County's redistricting at this point after this vote?
We are. We're just going to do that tiny correction order on the commissioner precinct redistricting, and I'll send that over shortly today. And that's
Thank you, Judge.
All right,
Make a motion to adjourn.
got a motion to adjourn, need a second?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Likewise, vote.